Welcome back to a brand new episode of the A-Game. I'm Lucas Warren.
I'm Ryan Hendricks.
And I'm Nick Goodman.
The Chiefs and the 49ers will face off in Super Bowl 58 on February 11th. What do you think about the championship games, and who do you expect to come out on top?
Yeah, about the championship game, starting with the AFC, the Baltimore Ravens, I really felt like beat themselves. They didn't really establish the run like they should have. They only ran the ball 11 times throughout the whole game. Gus Edwards only had 3 carries throughout the whole game. They had the 2 sloppy turnovers into the end zone, one of which was a fumble by Zay Flowers at the 1-yard line. The other one was an interception from Lamar Jackson that he really shouldn't have thrown. But the Chiefs defense did play really well just to contain the Ravens offense as a whole. In terms of the NFC Championship game, the Detroit Lions did make it to the NFC Championship off of aggressive decisions. I don't really mind them going for it on 4th down and being aggressive like they have been all year. But it did come back to bite them. And the Niners, they really wouldn't have stayed down for long, even though they're down 24-7. They have too much talent to not fight back in that game. I do feel like the 49ers are the most talented team in this matchup, but I just feel like that the Chiefs, they've done so much to get to this point. I feel like they're going to find a way to win.
In the conference title games, I see 2 teams that beat themselves towards the end. The Ravens completely abandoned the run game that they were known for this whole year, smash mouth. Just go ahead and force it down your throat over there. And that's what the Ravens did all year, but at the very end, in the conference title game, they decided to give up on that. They decided to trust Lamar's arm, which we know throughout most of his career has not been too hot. Then the Lions at the end, and I love the decision to go for it on 4th down, but if you don't get it, that's the risk you take. Now, looking forward to the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be a very fun game. 2 legends at the quarterback position, Brock Purdy, Pat Mahomes. Should be a fun one. I got the 49ers each one out. Brock Purdy, game-winning drive.
Yeah, looking at the AFC Championship, you would have thought Mahomes would have had to have a great day to win in Baltimore, but he didn't. The Chiefs only scored 17 points, but the big thing is they didn't turn the ball over, which the Ravens did twice. The Ravens just beat themselves, and I was bewildered by their offense. I mean, only running the ball 8 times with their running backs, 8 times with Lamar. Like, what are you doing? You were the #1 rushing offense during the regular season, and you just abandoned it down 10 points? I didn't get that. In the NFC Championship, what a heartbreaker for the Lions. I mean, you played well enough to win that game, I thought, and I just want to say it. I'm fine with Dan Campbell going for it on 4th downs. That's what got them there. You can't change when you get to the NFC Championship game. The big thing is just a few plays didn't go their way. The Ayuk helmet catch, the fumble from Jahmyr Gibbs, and then 2 big drops from Reynolds just really cost them. But you got to give credit to Brock Purdy. He played well enough to win them that game. He took them on big drives and came back. But the thing is, he did make 3 throws that probably should have gotten intercepted and could have lost them the game. For those reasons, I do look at the Chiefs as the team that's going to win in the Super Bowl. Mahomes is just too good. I'm not going to pick against them.
Well, guys, let's head from the gridiron over to the hard court. The Warriors and the Lakers had an amazing overtime thriller this past week, with LeBron dropping a 30-point triple-double and Steph Curry recording 46 points. How much longer will we see them perform at this level?
Look, this is a great game and probably the best game of the regular season, but both these teams are not looking good right now, and I don't see much to fix it moving forward. When you look at the Warriors, they've been trying to find a 5-man group that works. This game, they started Kuminga, Wiggins, and obviously Clay, Dre, and Steph, and that seems to work. It gives them size and some shooting, but there's just not a lot of options on this roster. They're getting older. Guys like Kevon Looney aren't as effective. They just don't really have that pop off the bench. I like Brandon Pajinski. I think he can play a little bit more, but then you're not very big. For the Lakers, I don't know. As long as they have D'Angelo Russell on that roster, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. I know the counting number is 28 points, the big 3 at the end, but he made 3 terrible turnovers at the end of that game. As long as he's on the roster, I don't care how good AD and LeBron are playing, they're not going to win anything.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Lucas said. It was a wild NBA game, potentially the game of the year. And it's really unfortunate that there was a team that had to lose that game with the way that both teams played. In terms of both LeBron and Steph, it is crazy how well that they're playing this late into their careers. LeBron is entering year 21, and he's putting up 36 points, 20 rebounds, which is a career high, and 12 assists, and is continuing to play hard even in double overtime. And Steph Curry, who's also in year 15, is also getting up there, ending up with 46 and 15 points in the overtime periods. You know, just the kind of longevity throughout the game and just throughout their careers, both being able to play this well. Of course, both teams still are struggling. They're still really trying to find their footing as we're heading into January and February here. But even though both teams are struggling, both LeBron and Steph Curry are playing elite basketball, especially considering where they are in their careers.
Yeah, I commend LeBron and Steph Curry for just being able to be as good as they are in their advanced stage. But come on, guys. We're talking about the 9th seed and the 12th seed out in the West. Why are we even talking about this game? Both of these teams do not have really any chance to make any noise unless the Lakers get really hot. And I don't even think the Warriors are going to make the playoffs at all. So I'm out on both of these teams.
Yeah, and it was a classic Draymond game. I mean, vintage. He had the 14 or double-digit rebounds, double-digit assists, 8 points, so not quite the triple-double.
Elbows?
A little elbows. He had one with Torian Prince, and then he had, of course, 3 missed threes, the backpack formation, short off the front of the rim. It was just what you want to see from Draymond.
It was really good back and forth by both teams too. They were both it felt like they had a counter punch every single time back up and down the court in overtime. They both played really well, and they both really needed this win badly to try to stay alive. And I think both teams still have some potential. Like both teams, as long as they still have LeBron and Curry on their teams and they have good role players, they'll both will have a chance. But transitioning from NBA basketball to college basketball, App State's men's basketball team got a huge victory over James Madison this weekend with a final score of 82-76. Will App State keep this hot streak alive, and do we have a chance of seeing them in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I think there's a real chance that this team's going to end up staying just as hot as they are. It concerns me a little bit about how we shoot the ball from beyond the arc. But if we just play to our pace, I think we can do anything. We can beat almost anybody, especially in the Sun Belt. And the Sun Belt schedule lightens up a bit. We don't have to see JMU again to the Sun Belt tournament. And I just love how we're playing. Justin Addison, 8 blocks. What a game he has. Should have had 9. We won't talk about that. But Trayvon Spillers in this front court's just been amazing. I'd like to touch up the shooting a little bit, get a bit more consistent beyond the arc. But beyond that, I love how the team's playing.
Yeah, you said it. You can't talk about this win from this past Saturday without talking about the play of the front court. I mean, Justin Addison, have yourself a game. Like you said, 8 blocks, tying the franchise or program record. And I mean, his presence on the court is just, there's no one that can command his presence on the court. You can't attack the rim when he's out there. He just protects the paint. And even when he's not there, you can see the JMU players just thinking about it. It affects their shots anytime they're near that basket. He's just such an impact player, and only a sophomore, he has so much room to grow. And then Trayvon Spillers, I mean, coming from Moberly Community College and immediately leading this team in points, he had 21 points on the day, so many clutch free throws, the 7 rebounds, 2 blocks of his own, and a steal. He played 37 minutes in that game, only 3-minute break. He's been huge, and I just love the way this App State team is playing right now.
Yeah, it's a huge deal also to beat James Madison twice. They are the biggest threat to App State in the Sun Belt Conference, so showing that we can beat them multiple times is a big deal. And going off of what both Ryan and Lucas said, Justin Addison is a huge deal for this team, and in this James Madison matchup, he's caused a lot of problems, whether it's through shot blocking or just impacting how James Madison can get into the paint. And there's many times where they wouldn't show up in the stat sheet, but he would just put his hands up and just be a presence in the paint, and then they would force a turnover out of it, or they would alter shots from there. It was also a good thing to see App State shoot free throws really well late in the game. You mentioned Trayvon Spillers earlier. They got him to the free throw line a lot, James Madison did, but he came up clutch time and time again. Even though he's not the best free throw shooter on the year, shooting around the 60s to 70s range in between there, he was really good down the stretch when App State needed them to be good. And also, we have to give a shout out to the Holmes Convocation Center crowd with over 8,000 people showing up for App State basketball, and they showed up for App State. In previous years, when the crowd has been this big at the Holmes Center, they've shown up for North Carolina. They've shown up for Steph Curry. They showed up earlier this year for Auburn. This was the first time they showed up for App State, and you got to hear that all throughout the game.
Yeah, the atmosphere in Holmes was just electric. You had to be there. Stay where you are. When we get back, we'll hear from Andrew and Kenzie.
Hi, my name is Melissa Weddle, and I'm Department Chair of Recreation Management and Physical Education at Appalachian State University. We offer 2 degree-granting programs, one in Recreation Management with a focus in Outdoor Experiential Education, Recreation and Park Management, and Commercial Recreation and Tourism. Our second degree granting program in Health, Physical Education, and Coaching offers teacher certification for public schools in health and physical education. You can get a minor or certificate in coaching. We are the front porch to the Beaver College of Health Science. where our focus is on quality of life, wellness, and physical activity. We're located in the beautiful mountains of Boone, North Carolina, so come join us, check out our website, or take a class.
Let's go! To a place where you can grow.
A place to be heard.
And take a closer look.
A place where you can crush it.
And push yourself.
A place to find your voice.
This place rocks. And rolls.
A place where you can get out.
Wow!
A place you'll never forget.
So where is this place? Let me show you.
Welcome back to the A Game. I'm Andrew Travers.
And I'm Kenzie Porter.
The Lions were defeated Sunday by the 49ers with a final score of 34-31. Is this a fluke year for the Lions, or will they be back next year?
I think personally that the Lions are here to stay. They have a super strong rookie class that's working definitely to their advantage. They actually signed running back Jahmyr Gibbs, who is phenomenal. He helps them with the game that they're playing. They have a really strong running game that works to their advantage, and they also have a coach who is there for their third year, so he's getting used to the area, he's getting used to the players, and like anything, you have to get acclimated to your coaches and your staff, which I think is only going to help you.
Absolutely. I think Dan Campbell has his guys definitely ready to play. They've had their best season that they've had in about 30 years, making the playoffs for the first time since the 90s. And they sold out season tickets at Ford Field for the first time ever. So that's definitely telling you something about this team. On offense, they have running backs such as David Montgomery and wide receivers such as Amon-Ra St. Brown. Montgomery had over 1,000 rushing yards this past season, while St. Brown had over 1,500 receiving yards to go along with that. And then on defense, they have key guys such as Jack Campbell and Aiden Hutchinson. But both of those guys actually had over 50 tackles in the regular season, and Hutchinson alone had 11.5 sacks on the season by himself. So I think both pieces are clicking for Dan Campbell's team. It's just a matter of, will they be good next season? I think they've got all the set pieces in place already.
Like you mentioned, I think David Montgomery paired with Jahmyr Gibbs is a fantastic advantage that they have, and that led them to their 12-5 season. So I think as long as everybody sticks around, as long as they keep using these running games to their advantage, they'll continue to have a fantastic season.
Absolutely. David Montgomery was acquired from the Chicago Bears, and I think that was a really good pickup for the Lions offense because he has paid nothing but good dividends for their offense.
I agree completely. So moving on, App State baseball is set to kick off in the next coming months, and do you think we will see the team with more or less success this year?
I think more success. They're coming off their first 30-win season as a member of the Sun Belt Conference. They were the Sun Belt Conference last year was ranked as a Power 5 conference in college baseball, so that's really saying something about the conference that App State has been placed in. They were 14-12 against non-conference opponents, 4 of those being NCAA regional teams. So that's the best of the best in college baseball. They were predicted to finish 12th in the Sun Belt last season, but ended up defying those odds and finishing 6th in the conference. They have guys departing such as pitcher Xander Hamilton and catcher Hayden Cross, which are going to be big subtractions from the team, but they also have key guys coming back like Austin St. Laurent, Caleb Cross, and Xavier Maranta. St. Laurent had 15 multi-hit games last season, while Cross finished with a 5-3 record and struck out 33 batters over the course of 47 innings. So some big-time work on the pitching mound. And then Maranta reached base on 47 of 55 games, 38 times in the first 16 games for the Mountaineers. So I think that's been really big, and those 3 key pieces for their team are going to be really key this coming season.
I agree. I think it says a lot that they've welcomed 15 new players. A lot of people might look at this as a disadvantage, but I personally think that that is something to use to your advantage. You've got new people coming in. They have grit. They have the drive. They want to be successful. They want to make a name out of themselves. So they're going to put in the hard work. And I also think that it says a lot that the town of Boone has rallied around App State baseball, because that's only going to continue to increase the people you have attending the games, the support, and the love that the teammates feel within the community.
Absolutely. I went to some baseball games last season. Jim and Betty Smith Stadium was rocking at times. You could see the energy in the crowd. You could see the energy in the players. And they're bringing in, speaking of new players and transfers coming into the program, one of their key transfers is senior Banks Tolley. He's an outfielder from Ole Miss, and we all know how good SEC baseball is. So I think that will pay good dividends for this Mountaineer baseball program. Bill Belichick is still a free agent at the time of filming. Will we see him coaching a team this upcoming season, or is his time in the NFL done?
I think it will be interesting because one thing that you could say is to his disadvantage is he has been in the NFL for a while. He is an older man, and he has won 6 Super Bowls, so clearly he knows what he's doing. But we have people like Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins coach, who are coming in and making a great name for themselves. They're using all these new techniques that he typically might not do with his age, but also he's clearly doing something right because he has 6 rings.
Absolutely. I think age is a factor in Belichick being a head coach again. He will turn 72 in April, and he's been in the NFL since 1974. So that's a long time to be around the league. His head coaching value has dropped a bit just because he's so old. And if you looked in the college realm with Nick Saban in Alabama, he's 73 years old, and he just retired from the Alabama program. So, and most of the coaches in the NFL right now want their coaches to stay within the organization for 2 to 3 seasons. There's no guarantee you could get that with Belichick. He's currently 15 wins away from Don Shula's all-time head coaching wins record. So I think maybe he might want to chase that a bit, but I just think he's getting up there in age. He's at the time about where he needs to retire from the league. You know, kick up on the beach, enjoy the palm trees, have yourself a cold glass of something, you know. It really is about time for Belichick to step away from the game. He's seen a lot of success in New England where he had Tom Brady as his quarterback who led them to multiple Super Bowls. And I just think maybe he'll join the league again as a senior advisor position on some team somewhere, just if he wants to stay in the landscape. But I'd say for the most part for his head coaching career, I think that's all gone. Enjoy retirement, Bill.
Stay where you are. When we get back, we will hear from Hunter and Cody for the weekly rundown.
Life is a journey. We're told that there are mountains and valleys before us. A mountaineer trudges through. Where others see an obstacle, a mountaineer sees an opportunity. A mountaineer climbs tomorrow's mountains today. So what is a mountaineer? A mountaineer is you.
What brings us to mountains? Is it the possibilities that await us at the top? Are we looking forward to how the challenge will mold us, transform us? Maybe the mountain is inside all of us. After all, we are mountaineers. Appalachian State University.
Welcome back to the A-Game. Alongside Hunter Boston, I'm Cody Bear. Hunter, kick us off with this week's rundown.
I'd be happy to, Cody. The Carolina Panthers have come to terms with Dave Canales to be the team's 7th head coach in program history. Canales comes to the Panthers after spending last year with the Buccaneers as their offensive coordinator, then the last 13 before with the Seahawks in a variety of positions. So, Cody, do you like this hire? And what are your predictions for the Panthers next season?
I do really like the hire. The biggest thing with me for Canales is that Baker Mayfield averaged the lowest time to throw of his career and the lowest sack rate since 2018 under Canales. That's huge. That's something Bryce Young obviously needs a ton with this offensive line. So I think the hire is a good one. I don't think the Panthers are going to get exponentially better. It's hard to get worse. Maybe 3-4 wins next season.
I think what he did with Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith is very notable. So I hope that, getting that offensive mind in with Bryce Young, hopefully he loves Bryce Young. I would assume, with him getting hired that he does. And with the Panthers, you got to do better than you did this year, right? I mean, you can only get worse, maybe winning one game. So we'll see. We'll see.
NBA superstars continue to score more than ever. Joel Embiid scored 70 points against the Spurs about a week ago, just for Luka Doncic to best that by scoring 73 3 days later. We also saw Karl Anthony Towns put up 62 points against the Hornets the same night as the Embiid 70-piece, but Towns shocked the Timberwolves out of the game in the fourth. Is the scoring more due to the talent of the players, culture, or the lack of defense in the NBA?
You could probably say both, in my opinion. I think it's the talent. I mean, the talent that is in the NBA right now is unlike what it has ever been. I think that's a huge reason why these big performances keep popping up.
I agree with you 100%. A lot of it definitely is both, and a lot of it's moving towards an offensive league, and that's okay. And the biggest thing is that talent that you mentioned. You have 6'6" to 6'10" point guards, and just guys who can play every position. Scoring becomes a whole lot easier that way.
Hot off the heels of a historic win over JMU, App State basketball was awarded 1 vote in the AP Top 25 poll, along with 4 votes in the USA Today Coaches Poll. This marks the first time since 2010 the Mountaineers have received votes in the AP poll. It puts them as the 40th team in the country on the AP and the 39th in the Coaches Poll. What does an honor like this mean for the program, Cody?
It means huge things. It shows the direction that they're going. They've had the best season that they've had in a very, very long time, this coming under Dustin Kearns. And it shows that Dustin Kearns has just completely turned this program, not necessarily around, but in a fantastic direction going forward. They're top 6 in the country in rebounds, blocks, and defensive shooting percentage. They've been fantastic this year, and this just kind of validates that.
That's exactly right. I think it just shows the hard work that Coach Kearns has put into this program is starting to take a point in the national media.
I agree. Lots of season to go. LSU women's basketball has faced some trouble in the SEC. The number 9 ranked team in the country is coming off of back-to-back losses against the number 1 ranked South Carolina, but then unranked Mississippi State. The Tigers have now lost 3 of their last 5 games. Is it time to worry for the defending champs who are only 5-3 in the SEC?
I don't really look into it that much. I think every single team in the country is going to have stretches where they're not too happy with how they're performing, so I'm going to pump the brakes. I think they're going to be just fine.
I agree for the most part. Same thing, long season. My one worry is them being 18-4 and them struggling at 5-3 in the SEC. They didn't have these problems at all last season. They finished 15-1 in the SEC, only lost to South Carolina. It worries me a little bit, but this team still has so much talent.
For the first time since 2014, there are 2 Harbaughs coaching in the NFL. After 9 seasons with the Michigan Wolverines, Jim Harbaugh is back in the big leagues coaching the Los Angeles Chargers, a team that's looking to get the most out of a team led by superstar quarterback Justin Herbert. What are your thoughts on the blockbuster hire, and does this make the Chargers Super Bowl contenders?
The hire is huge. So let's look at the quarterbacks under Jim Harbaugh and Harbaugh's career. First, he was a quarterback coach for the Raiders. Under him, Rich Gannon won the MVP. Then he coached at Stanford. Andrew Luck was under him. And then he goes over to the Niners. Alex Smith was not playing well before he got there. Turned around, became a very good quarterback. Then you go into Colin Kaepernick, and of course he's elevated J.J. McCarthy's play. May not be Super Bowl contenders immediately, but they can do some scary things for the NFL.
That's exactly right. Harbaugh said that he loves SpongeBob because he loves that charisma and he loves that attitude. That's what he's going to bring to this Chargers team. It's been so up and down for them. Sometimes crazy things happen to them that I don't think anyone can explain. So I think they got the right guy to come in, settle down the waves, and get the most out of Justin Herbert.
Online sports betting is coming to the state of North Carolina. It was recently ruled that at noon on March 11th, it will be illegal to bet on sports online. It is a day before the ACC tournament starts and about a week before the NCAA tournament starts. What's the first thing you'll be looking at once it's legal?
I tell you what, I'm a little bit excited for this one now, but I think I'm going to put a healthy sum on the Atlanta Braves to win the World Series.
I'm all over a lot of the ACC tournament. Watching the NCAA tournament's completely different now that this is a thing that you can do. Just make sure you're being careful. Only bet what you can spend.
Exactly right. New England Patriots wide receiver Keyshawn Boot has been arrested for his role in an illegal sports gambling scene. Boot allegedly placed around 9,000 bets, equaling almost $132,000. Most of these bets were placed during his time as a wide receiver at LSU. Do you think this is kind of foreshadowing a bigger problem that we're going to start seeing in college sports?
It's going to become a problem. You see a lot of conspiracies around it, which for now, just conspiracies, but players are starting to get hit by it more and more as it becomes legalized to do it online in other states. I think it's going to become an issue. Just got to stay away from it. I understand, like, you can bet if it's your team and you're betting on yourself, but all the same, I understand sports having to kind of cut it where there's a line, and I understand the line. Just don't bet if you're a player. That's the risk, though. It's going to happen.
Boot made almost $500,000 betting, and I was just like, man, get off the football field and into the sports books. You don't need to be risking this. You seem to have a talent with this. Just lead into it. But you're exactly right. Players, you can't be betting. Don't just stop it where it is. But I think this is going to be a problem that we might start seeing more and more as it becomes more popular.
Arthur Smith is heading to Pittsburgh. The Steelers are hiring Smith as their new offensive coordinator after firing Matt Canada last season. He has plenty of weapons with the Steelers. Do you like this hire, Hunter?
I really do. A lot of people look at his time in Atlanta and very deservingly give him a lot of criticism, but he is a really, really good offensive coordinator. He showed it during his time with Tennessee when they were first in the AFC with Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown. I just really want to see what he does with this Pittsburgh Steelers offense that desirably really needed an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's a fine hire. A lot of the criticism for Smith was his lack of use of Bijan Robinson this year and Kyle Pitts over the last couple of years. But he's going to a place where they really need to establish the run. Their pass game isn't going to be great with Pickett. They want to establish the run, really get Jaylen Warren going. And this guy was the offensive coordinator for Derrick Henry for a couple years and saw a ton of success there. So I think that was a good move by the Steelers.
A big question on everyone in the football world's mind is Kadarius Toney really injured? The Chiefs injury report says he is, but Toney himself is saying otherwise. This all came to be after a social media post from Toney surfaced saying that he is really not injured despite being listed as out for the last couple of games. Andy Reid has come forward and disputed many claims that the team's making it up. So, Cody, what is your take on this whole situation?
My take is, Kadarius Toney, the Chiefs did you a favor by saying that he's injured, not going to play. They could have just said, hey, Kadarius Toney has over 13% drop rate on the season, so we can't really trust him in big games like this one. That's probably what they should have said. The Chiefs, if there's this whole thing about he's not injured, but they said he wasn't ready to go, they did you a favor, Kadarius, because you shouldn't be playing in big games because you can't be trusted in big games. So you're lucky that they spinned it the way that they did.
Yeah, I'm afraid Mr. Toney has a severe case of I can't catch-itis. And I think he should have just stayed quiet here. Like you said, the Chiefs are really doing him a favor. You know, they're not just airing out everything that's wrong with him, but unfortunately he took it to social media, so we'll see how it develops.
Somewhere that Kadarius Toney and the Chiefs won't be going, the Pro Bowl this weekend with Championship Sunday in the books and the Super Bowl a week away. The Pro Bowl takes place on Sunday. The Pro Bowl is once again replaced by skills competitions, culminating with a non-contact flag football game on Sunday. It will once again be coached by Eli Manning and Peyton Manning. Eli coaching the NFC and Peyton coaching the AFC. Hunter, do you have excitement for the Pro Bowl?
I really like what they've been doing with the Pro Bowl, and I'm not a huge watcher of it, but I like the way that it's going, and I love anything that Mannings are involved in.
I agree. You're getting a lot of the personalities, and I feel like that's been kind of a hurting point for the NFL. Not a ton of personalities. I love that even post-playing, you have Eli, you have Peyton, great personalities that people are going to want to see on the screen. They're not going to be playing, obviously, but they'll be mic'd up. They'll be talking. It's going to be a lot of fun. I agree. We saw this whole era of just like kind of hugging Pro Bowl football. Obviously, players don't want to get injured in the Pro Bowl. No one took it seriously. People still aren't going to necessarily take it seriously, but at least they're trying to find an avenue to improve.
Exactly right. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of The A-Game.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram at AppTVInsta.